But it's more than just text generation that could lead to unsafe situations, and in fact, massive privacy violations if AI is not regulated. So for instance, if I could draw your attention for a second to like biometric technologies, for instance, like facial recognition technology. Facial recognition is mostly unregulated in the United States. So if you go into a mosque or a synagogue or an abortion clinic, right, someone in the parking lot could identify you using facial recognition and potentially post your name and address on the internet, and it's perfectly legal. If we allow facial recognition to just be on everyone's cell phone, then the witness protection program would be non-existent because people could just identify the witnesses. And then you've got like voice spoofing software. Like if you can generate people's voices, then you can create scams where you call their parents and say like, hey, I need money. I've been kidnapped. And it's clear that we need some regulation behind some of these things, particularly the biometric technologies.
Yeah, it's very strange. I went to play golf last week, and just going to register my arrival at the golf club for my tee time, they had a facial recognition counter that I had to log in. I was like, what is the purpose of this? And it brings the question to the issue of not just what is the purpose of it, but who's actually operating this stuff. Because for me, the really troubling thing about all of this is the entire AI revolution is being driven by companies. We've seen what Facebook already does with data. We've seen any number of transgressions from the private sector. We've seen the amount of money that the private sector spends on buying government policy, if you like, and influencing regulation. This is not a technology that should be driven by commercial interest, is it? This is not something that we should be putting in the hands of people who care only about profit.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want people, do we want people generating like fake child abuse content and posting it on the internet? Do we want them to be generating fake non-consensual porn? What about fake images of terrorist attacks to make you think something happened when it didn't? Fundraising and recruiting for terrorist organizations. Do we want people to be able to do that and not have any regulations on it? Like right now, people can post that stuff without consequences. And I mean, I don't think social media companies should get off free when their content filters are insufficient.
So what is there to be done? What happens now? Because it doesn't seem as if governments have been particularly on the ball with this stuff.
They certainly have not. I think the fact that people are talking about it so much kind of, I'm hopeful there'll be some movement, but I'm not like, I'm actually not optimistic about it. I think there are at least 3 places that we could put guardrails. Like one is when it's generated, you can create a licensing system for people accessing, for instance, biometric technologies like facial recognition or voice spoofing. The second place we could put guardrails is when it's posted online, and the third is when it's not filtered out. And I think all 3 of these need to be handled.